I bought a job site table saw, and the reason I bought the job site table saw is I don't have enough room in my basement workshop to do the work that needs to be done. So I need to cut this wood into 1/4-inch strips, and that's what I'm doing today. It's cutting the cedar into 1/4-inch strips so that it's, as you can see, flexible. There's just not enough room in my basement workshop. And my table saw weighs, I don't know, 400 pounds. I can't get it out of the basement without taking the whole thing apart, taking the motor off, lugging it up here. And it really was just going to be a chore. So I decided to buy this job site table saw, and it's going to allow me to do other things. Among the other things it's going to allow me to do is, now when I bring a 4x8 sheet of plywood home for a project, instead of getting the circular saw up and clamps and straight edges and everything to break the 4x8 sheet of plywood into manageable pieces, I can use this. And I'm hoping that it will alleviate some of my problems. So I've already run a few pieces through. So far it's doing a good job cutting. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, Lila, it's gonna get noisy. Well, that sucked. That was my fault. You can see that the wood is twisted, and as I push it up against the straight edge, I just need to work it, and there at the end it got bound up. So that's it. That's some white cedar that I'm cutting up right now. This will be for some accent pieces. The canoe is going to be made out of red cedar, and that's all hanging up here. I'm going to put the camera on, I don't know what it's called, stop motion capture or whatever, because this is going to take all day. It's the closest Lila's ever been to my workshop. She hates when I'm in my workshop. But today she's upstairs and can see everything. Today is the day after Father's Day, and I spent the Saturday before Father's Day ripping the 1/4 inch wide strips of cedar. And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to machine them. I'm going to put a cove and a bead detail on either side. And what that will allow is, as I'm putting the canoe together, instead of it sitting like this as I go around the corner, it'll roll a bit more, and you'll see that once I'm done with this detail. I bought a Rockler bead and cove bit that I'm installing into my router table, and I'm going to set the fence up, set up some feather boards, and start running things through. This is going to take me a little while to set up, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and turn that camera off. It took some doing, it took some finagling, but eventually I got it. I have a feather board here, and the purpose of that is to keep the piece tight up against the fence and tight up against the bit. And then a feather board here, and its purpose is to keep it tight up against the table. I'm going to go ahead and run a piece through and show you what it looks like. Hopefully the camera will not shake off the table, and it's going to get loud, so when I edit this, I'll make sure I quiet it down quite a bit. And that puts a nice round over the entire length of this piece. And I will run it again, and on this side I'll put a cove cut, which will mimic that, but in this direction. And in doing that, what that will allow and I'll show this again once I'm done, is the round over will bed into that little cove, and it'll give it more surface area to contact. This is going to take me several hours, so I'm going to put the GoPro aside. I'll do the same thing I did when I was ripping the pieces down. I'll do I can't remember what it's called, the stop motion photography, and get about 10 minutes worth of work and then shut it off so that I don't waste film and I don't waste battery life. Well, I milled the cove all on one side, and now I have to do the other side. And the one thing that I need to keep straight as I do this is I have a lot of cedar strips here, and the finished side may be to the left or to the right, and I just have to pay attention so that I flip it over to the correct side. But other than that, it's just going to be run through just like it was before. Let me show you. Well, that went pretty fast. And now you can see why we're doing this. So hopefully you'll be able to see this on camera. You can see that this is rounded over slightly and this is rounded in slightly, and the same with this piece. And now they'll join together like that. And if you come down from the top and look, you can see that even as it goes, well, hold on a second. All right, let's see if I can show it to you now. As it goes around the form, you can see that there's very little gap, so I can twist it around the form a little bit. And that's the whole point of this. It'll make even more sense once I start installing it.